Technology, trying out a new app. The mic quality sounded really good. It did. But my video was sideways. Um, that app allows you to set the kilobytes of your upload, whereas YouTube, just the basic YouTube app like this, handles that automatically for the normies. So my kilobyte speed was too high. I'll tweak that in the future. My video also didn't link up with my audio, so that was kind of depressing a little bit. But I figured I'd hop on here and maybe do, let's see, that one was 30 minutes, 24. So a couple minutes, I can count another stream. Let's do at least 10. And we can count 5 streams for the day on the catch up. Oh, but yeah, I was hitting my stride. You got to kind of push through that first couple 10, 15, 20 minutes of the stream until you start talking in a flow. It's important to remember. But yeah, my phone died. I had 1% left, so I'll pop back in here in the car. We're gonna go officially go on the Chipotle run. Except I'm in the city. I kind of remember how to get there, but I'm pretty dependent on the Waze app at this point. So, but yeah, I think I was at the part where I was saying I'm not on team blame the Jews yet. It doesn't feels wrong. Maybe I've been propagandized against that. I don't know, but I like Max Blumenthal. I like Katie Halper. I like, Gabor Mate. I used to say I like Noam Chomsky, not so much anymore, but I think it's the capitalist class, because there's a lot of people making money off war and charging interest on student loans and everything else that aren't Jewish. So, is the Zionist lobby, the Zionists used their own religion to set up a settler colonial state in the Middle East with the backing of Britain because they wanted access to that oil. The Anglo-British oil supply in Iran. Iran are the indigenous people of the area that are defending their homeland. So it's like you can root for the European settlers or the Native Americans, I guess. I was obviously of the first clan. Irish somewhere in the middle, but it's hard to get more indigenous than the ancient Persians. It's pretty dadgum indigenous in Western history. But yeah, I'm still not on that side. I think you just gotta treat the issue with the scalpel and not a Nick Fuentes sledgehammer. I did want to talk through that, though. We turn the Middle East into glass. We take Grandpa's advice. Now what happens? There's that great cartoon of, it was like Israel screaming. I can't remember exactly what the cartoon was. It was something like, it's pretty much the U.S. military standing behind Israel and starting a war with Iran. So Israel nukes Iran. Where'd they get their nukes from? From the U.S., of course. James Jesus Angleton, 1960s, CIA. Look it up. I'm reading this comment from you, Lawson. Okay. I'm sure that's not on the terms of service, but thank you for the comment, sir. Like I said, if they do that, then Israel will become a pariah. The boomers will support it. The millennials will be appalled. What will happen to the markets? Could a nuclear bomb make the markets crash? I don't know at this point. I feel it's so fake, they're just going to make it go up no matter what they do. What would China and Russia do? Would they cut economic ties with the country that fired the nuke? I would imagine. But, I mean, many countries have already severed economic ties with Israel, and China and the U.S. are already at economic odds and are detangling from each other's economies, or trying to. So I don't know. Do I think that would lead to World War III? I'm kind of skeptical, honestly. I don't really know. But Alistair Crook I have a video where I cut a clip of Alistair Crook from years ago, and he said that the Iranians have kind of planned for that. I don't know a whole lot about Shia Islam. I was raised Baptist, but fighting and dying for the cause is deeply in their culture, from what I understand. So, in case they do go up in a mushroom cloud, their spiritual fight will be that they have set up many missiles in the heavily mountainous region, and there's a kill switch on those missiles. And even if Tel Aviv is eliminated in a nuclear blast, not Tel Aviv, Tehran is eliminated in a nuclear blast, then Tel Aviv will be hit with missiles for the next 2 years coming out of the mountains, as according to Alistair Crook, who appears to know a lot more about this than almost anyone else I listen to. I think he was a British diplomat to Iran back in the day. He says he hasn't dealt with that in a long time, but I don't know. My intuition tells me that guy knows some things. But even after that, what happens? I don't think you really can predict what happens. I mean, that's the easy cop-out answer. But at that point, talking to my dad, I realized the evangelical boomers would love it. If they get many more end times movies out of it. I don't know how much it would affect the markets. Maybe. We'll see Monday what the markets think about all this. The automatic investment, the fact that an automatic portion of your money goes into your 401k or your retirement plan or your pension. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's hypothesized that in 5 or 10 years that will start tipping, and then the whole thing will go no matter what happens. The market. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Of course we'll have to see. Why did I hop on here and hit a red button to say we'll have to see? Of course we'll have to see. But I do think here we're going to see American hubris be challenged in some way. But I don't think we're ever going to get that moment of like, we're living in a world of truth. The propaganda has been exposed. Now we can rebuild a civilization based on a foundation of truth. Until the working class takes political power of the media, that's not going to happen. You're going to have psyops ran until that point. You're going to live in a world of bullshit until that point. That just seems pretty likely. I don't see a way around it. I'm hoping for that in my heart, I don't want anyone to suffer. I hate that elementary school got hit in Iran this morning. That's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. At the same time, in places where they have won sovereignty, Vietnam, China, you got to fight for sovereignty. The empire's not going to just give it to you. And in a way, I'm kind of glad. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I don't think things change without suffering, unfortunately. I don't think humans, if they're comfortable, really move to make dramatic change that improves the lives of anyone. I hate that, but As the Radiohead song goes, a pig in a cage on antibiotics. Fitter, happier, more productive, more time at the gym, comfortable. Oh man, I can't really get behind that one. Is that Kyle? Yeah, he still invaded Russia and tried to put down the working class revolution. So, I don't know. But that sentiment is going to be shared a lot more, especially if this drags out into Gen Z, Gen Alpha version of the millennials Iraq. That sentiment will much more be shared. This lady's locking her car very suspiciously. Oh, she didn't look at me. I think I'm all right. Just in here doing a live stream, lady. But yeah, that Chipotle burrito is calling. And see, there's the comfortable part, right? Always get the carnitas. Go all out with the guac. Good stuff. I wanted to put the cherry on this thing. The suffering, the change. Oh yeah. That's how I feel with these things. When the build up to them happens, Russia, Ukraine, whatever, NATO, Russia-China alliance, BRICS alliance, whatever. I feel like we listen to so many of these videos where it's just like two guys in a bar yelling at each other. And it's just annoying. How do people around your ways feel about the war? In rural America, man, nobody likes war. I pulled up a paper from the Salem News, the Missouri Salem News from 1936, and it's got a guy on the front, and he's pointing at a dark cloud behind him that says European crisis. And there's a word bubble coming out of his mouth, and it says, "Keep us out of that." And he's mad. It was on the front page of the newspaper. And next to him, there's a bunch of graves, say 1917 to whatever, the World War I. Yeah. So, people don't like it. I don't really even hear anyone talk about it. I mean, if they're evangelical, Baptist church goer, Israeli flag on the front of the church, then, I mean, you can predict what they think. But they don't think a whole lot through it. They're just kind of like, God will protect Israel. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. You don't need to think about it any more than that. And I told my dad, I go, well, then they could just send one guy in. Just have one Israeli soldier walk into Iran and defeat the whole army. Because, it's destined. It's written in the book. Oh. Let's see, 10. Making good time. Making good time. But yeah, all that to say, I'm having trouble getting this final analogy out that I wanted to say. These guys have left the bar. They've been yelling at each other since, when was the Iranian hostage crisis? Well, really since the 1950s, right? What was that, 1953 Iranian coup? Right? It's been 70 years. They finally left the bar. They took it outside. They indeed took it outside, and now they're swinging. And like I said, I don't like war. I don't like people to suffer. I don't like elementary schools to get blown up. Who would? The Epstein class? Probably. But, in human history, an alien looking down at the planet. That appears to be the way things get better over time. Is they have these two dudes yelling at each other, have to go outside and start swinging. They're swinging now. And you got to ask yourself, Which of these two sides represents the little guy? Is it Israel? That's kind of how the propaganda goes, right? There's this little scrappy guy in the Middle East, surrounded by a ton of countries that want to destroy him. Well, maybe that's because they just planted their flag down there in 48 and committed the Nakba and said, this is ours now. It's written 3,000 years ago, as they say. That might make your neighbors upset. Could. Who represents the working class in this scenario? I do like the nationalization of resources. I mean, nationalizing the oil supply and yanking it away from the British. I gotta say, that's a quick way to get popular with the Irish McConnell family. At least with this one. So, how's it all going to play out? Well, we're going to sit back and watch. As Connor Aber said on the last song of... no, that wasn't the last song. On Lifted. ABC, NBC, CBS, bullshit. They give us fact or fiction, I guess an even split. And each new act of war is tonight's entertainment. We're just the pawns in their game. We take eye for an eye until no one can see, and we must stumble blindly forward, repeating history. That's where we're at. The noise in the background. We made love on the living room floor with the noise in the background of a televised war. That's another Connor Aber song. That one was off I'm Wide Awake It's Morning. Can't remember the song. Anyway. Never trust someone who wants war but has never been literally on the front lines risking their lives. Indeed, dude. Well, I teach high school, so spend every day on the front lines, so know how it is. You know what I mean? But if you're talking about Lindsey Graham, then yeah, I absolutely agree. We should send Lindsey to the front lines. He could be the one guy that Israel could send into Iran. With God on his side. Should be fine. Know what I mean? That's what I think. Anyway, guys, thanks for dropping by. There's lots of places to be on the internet. Thanks for stopping by my my own little corner here outside in the parking garage. Dad's out of the ICU. He's getting better. We'll do a stream here soon, okay? Together. And it's kind of the third rail for me and Dad. We try not to talk about Israel because we disagree on it so much. I would never talk to my grandpa about it because I love him and he's 94 and you know, I just say, "Wow, Grandpa, that's interesting. Tell me more about Revelation." But Dad, if me and Dad are going to keep doing this and the Israeli-Iranian-American war is going on, then we're going to have to work it out on camera, and that would be very interesting to watch if I wasn't one of the people involved in the discussion. So maybe like and subscribe, and you can see some of that in the future. All right? Once Dad's heart is healed, I don't want him to go out on that argument. That would be awful. Peace in the Middle East and peace in the McConnell family. I don't want peace. I want him alive making smart-ass comments to me, and that's the dad I love. So, all right, guys, thanks for dropping by. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep these going. Peace out. God bless. And let's hope as few people have to die as possible, but the way it's looking, it's about to get cray-cray, I think. Peace out, everybody. Peace out, Kyle, Reed. Love y'all. Patriarchy. See you later.